Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and this is for Cutter 59. Cutter 59 had wanted me to talk about this film, Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon, which I talked about on my last channel, and so why not? I really like this film, so I can talk about it. I thought it was a slasher film that was done in a smarter than average, well acted, great script, very funny at times, not really gory, but what I like about this film, it apparently takes place in a frame of reference where Michael, Jason, Freddy are real. You know, Jason really messed with Crystal Lake and so on and so forth. And this guy is going to try to be like one of them, and he brings his documentary crew to film his rise. And like the girl doing it is Angela Goethals. If you remember Home Alone, the girl who goes to Kevin, you know what the French say, incompetent. That girl is the lead in this film. And I thought she did a good job. Even though her character is sketchy, which I'll get to, I thought she did a good job acting-wise. Nathan Baesel, who played Leslie Vernon, he was solid, because you first see him, he's very nice, he's even showing off his turtles. I only keep pets of stuff that I can eat. And they sort of look at him funny, like, what? And he's basically showing off his plan, his sort of rise, so to speak, coming up with the legend. Then you find out that he made up the legend, how he makes this little newspaper clipping for the girl to find. And it's like, oh, who's that? Does she know him? It's like, oh, that's her, but it's CGI. It's like, what? Like, yeah, we all use CGI. Him working out, saying that, oh, you need a lot of cardiovascular. And the lady documentary is like, why? It's like, because you don't be walking, or seem like you're walking, they're running their ass off. You gotta keep up with it. Well, like he's showing the place where they're going to have the everything happen, and it shows how he's rid the place. Like he's nailed the window shut, and the girl goes, well, why don't they break the windows? He's like, I don't know. You would think they would do that, but for some reason they don't. Or how if they get upstairs and they get to the trees, he's rid the tree. Or how if they get to the tool shed, he's rid the weapon so they break off. And sort of like imagining like how they're going to do step by step. Or how, he's picking out his victims, like you need survival girls if she's a virgin. You need a set group. The stoners, they're not really that fast. It's just a lot of fun homages also, because like you see like they're doing the documentary in the beginning, and they're showing all the places that other killers have been, and like Crystal Lake, Elm Street. You actually see Kane Hodder himself going to the Elm Street house that Nancy was in the first Nightmare on Elm Street film. You get little nods, like I think in one scene they're doing an interview and you see like the Hellraiser box. Good acting by everybody. I mean, Robert Englund's in this film as quote, the killer's Ahab. He's like, he's everything good, or I'm gonna be evil. And Robert Englund is basically playing Dr. Loomis. He looks like Donald Pleasant's character. He's basically playing Dr. Loomis. And it was Robert Englund, a lot of fun for him playing that character. I wish he was in the film more, though. Zelda Rubinstein from Poltergeist, which this was her last film before she unfortunately passed away in 2010. She has a small role as a librarian, telling the story of Leslie Vernon, which again, most of it, he made up. And as it's going, you find out that the girl doing the documentary and him, it's almost like they're having certain feelings for each other. It sounds stupid, but I thought it was developed kind of in an interesting way. Even though her character's kind of sketchy, because at the same time, her and the two cameramen, they are standing by watching him while he's planning the deaths of these people. So it's kind of like they're just as much as fault, but not doing anything. But right at the end, when everything goes to town, and she goes, no, we have to do something, we can't just stand by. I'm like, you do this now? You could have said this before, you say this now? But at the same time, I mean, I don't really give them 100% full credit. But at least, you know, he gave them, the killer, you know, Leslie Vernon gave them the chance to just, okay, bye, to just head off. And they didn't, and they went back. So granted, they did that. They didn't just run off, or drive off. But still, they're not 100% innocent in it, you know, that was kind of the sketchy thing. But at least they actually did try to help. Granted. And the look of Leslie Vernon, I don't mind. I don't mind the look of Leslie Vernon. It's not really a gory picture at all, which is kind of weird. I mean, you kind of, you know, I think it should have been maybe a little bit gorier, but I don't know if maybe they thought if they do that, then it would take away some of the comedic undertones of it. And it's not a parody. It's not a parody. I just thought it was a very well-written flick. But then, like, the documentary girl finds out that maybe this was sort of Leslie Vernon's plan all along, that she is actually the real final girl virgin. Because they find, like, the girl that apparently he had picked out to be the virgin, and they find her on top fucking someone. It's like, well, I guess she's not a virgin. And you find that the documentary girl is, you know, the girl from Home Alone. I just liked the way it was developed, and the acting was solid, the script was well written, it's a very interesting idea, you get some very funny, like, if you're a fan of slasher films, or if you know the genre of that or horror films, you get a lot of the jokes. Scott Glosserman, unfortunately, he produced and directed this. He also had a hand writing it with David J. Steve. He didn't go on to do much. I mean, he did some documentary called Truth in Numbers, Everything According to Wikipedia. And then apparently 2 films, The Truth Below and B4TM. Don't know what they are, but he hasn't really done much after this, which is sad. I mean, there's a lot of directors, I think, that should not have had another chance. But this was a very solid, entertaining, well-written flick. Granted, the documentary crew is kind of sketchy because they did allow a lot of stuff to happen. But at the same time, they came through at the end. You also have scenes where they meet with the guy's mentor. So like they first meet him, the guy's underground doing like sleep deprivation to sort of train how to hold your body to pretend it's dead. And you got the idea that the guy is with a woman, maybe that girl was maybe one of his potential victims and they fell in love or something like that. I mean, you tell this film's not really reality, it's not realistic. It's not a realistic film. I mean, it takes place where Michael, Jason, and Freddy are, quote, real, so maybe that's why, but it was just a very interesting flick with a lot of good humor and a smarter than average script, and I thought the acting was pretty solid. But anyway, that's Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. If you haven't checked it out, I definitely suggest you do so. And a lot of good features, commentary, making of, the casting of. But yeah, Behind the Mask, I thought it was a very solid flick. I like it better than Laid to Rest. I know a lot of people like Laid to Rest. I like gore, but I even see a lot of slasher films with gore. But Laid to Rest I thought was stupid. I mean, they're back and forth, looking for gas, which is the same thing they're wasting. I mean, that's just me. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching, and take care. Later.